At CARE hospitals, we believe healthcare must move beyond episodic treatment to structured prevention, proactive engagement, and measurable wellness outcomes. That belief brings us together this evening. To set the context to this important dialogue, it is my honor to invite a leader who is a true veteran of cross-industry transformation. Currently, the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at CARE Group of Hospitals. He is an engineer and IMI alumnus, recognized as the top 100 global healthcare leader. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Shalabh Dang.
Thank you, Lina. Control, can I just have the lights slightly dim? Slightly disturbing. Am I audible at the end? Am I audible? Okay. So, a very, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute an honor to welcome the industry leaders of approximately 14 industries that we have actually shortlisted, and we have been engaging with you for the last 2 years. Today is a very, very big day for us. I personally have been waiting for this day for almost a year. And the reason is that we were waiting for the right time. Today is the day when we are all going to see something which is going to be very, very unique for Hyderabad. We have done this in Delhi, we have launched in Delhi, we have launched in Mumbai, and we have also launched in Bangalore. But what we are going to expose today to all of you, Hyderabad has never seen it. But before we get into it, and of course it's going to come during the day, during the evening, I think it's also important that I touch upon the care journey. Because in the last 2 years, there has been a significant change as far as CARE Group is concerned. All of you know CARE hospitals, we are known. We have been there serving patients for the last 30 years, almost 30 years. But then, in the last 2 years, things have really changed. The holding company name is Quality Care India Limited. And this company is a private equity-owned company of Blackstone. I'm sure all of you would have heard a company called Blackstone, which is one of the largest PE firms across the globe. Now, they entered in October 2023, and we had no beds. We came up in India without any experience in healthcare. So CARE was just the start, and then we acquired KIMS Healthcare, which is one of the leading brands in Kerala, and then also followed by Evercare, which is a Bangladesh-run largest chain of hospitals. Today, we are proud to speak that we have almost 25 hospitals spread across 15 cities. And we are also looking at expansion. We are very soon going to merge with Astor Group of Hospitals. And with that, we will have close to 10,000 beds and become the #1 healthcare chain in next 1 year. After we'll be #2 listed company in India, but within a year, because we are entering into Delhi and we are also looking at entering into Mumbai. So the plan here is to become the #1 healthcare chain in India. But then that's what we want to become. But how do we serve patients? How do we serve the corporates? I think two basic differentiation that we're going to create this year is looking at how do we get technology to serve patients better? How do we get technology to be more transparent as far as the patient communication is concerned? And the most important thing here is the clinical outcomes. How do we all decide which doctor to choose for a particular surgery? Today, we do not decide. We just speak to each other and then decide a particular hospital or a doctor. Imagine if we start publishing the clinical outcomes, you would have the best of the knowledge to choose a particular hospital or a particular doctor. So our endeavor is to actually start publishing the clinical outcomes. And this year is about collating the clinical outcomes and presenting to everyone so that you are equipped enough to take the right choice for yourself and your family. So that was about CARE, and that was about Blackstone plans. I think today is a very, very important day, like I just said. The reason why we are sitting out today is that we are HR leaders, we are, some of them are CXOs here, and all are respective leaders in their respective industries. I have worked in 4 different industries and almost 12 years in healthcare. But when I go back to my FMCG days or my telecom days or my consumer durable days, I remember health for HR or health and safety team or the administrative team used to be things. And as we all know, as leaders, the top 3 priorities for leaders in any of the organization is revenue, EBITDA, and cost. Am I right? These 3 are the top 3 things, and health comes very, very late. But then this meeting is basically talking about how do we get health first? Because all of us is more of reactive rather than being proactive. What do we do when an employee falls flat during his office working hours? We call for an ambulance or we run him or her to the nearest hospital. That's more of reactive. Our endeavor here is not to be reactive, but to become proactive. And proactive, by the way, is not just prevention of health by doing health checkups. That's probably just 10% of it. What we are going to launch today here is going to give you the scorecard of your organization as far as health is concerned, not just for your organization, but you can slice it with the age, with the demographics, with the sex, with the department wise. A very, very interesting example. Some of you have come up from KPOs or BPOs. The disease burden of KPOs and BPOs is going to be very different from a high pressure sales and marketing job. A disease burden of a PSU, where the average age of organization is above 40, will be very different from a consultancy firm. And there is where we want to pitch in and give you techniques on how do we preempt the future as far as health is concerned. So, very exciting evening which we have planned today. And of course, there are lovely, lovely panel discussions, which I'm sure you would all love. We would go ahead with it. And then whatever I spoke about, the health gadgets, we are going to speak about that as well, as how all of you are going to benefit with the new program that we're launching. Thank you so much. A warm welcome once again.
Thank you, Shala, for outlining a powerful vision of healthcare that extends beyond hospital walls and into workplaces and communities. This evening is not just designed as a one-way address. Healthcare and workforce strategy cannot be shaped through monologues. They require dialogue. We are hosting panel discussions because the challenges facing organizations today, burnout and engagement, are multidimensional. Such discussions allow us to bring multiple lenses into one room. And with that, we move into the first panel. The topic, burnout at work, solving HR's biggest productivity challenge. Burnout is no longer a personal issue. It's a business issue. It affects retention, engagement, healthcare costs, and leadership continuity. To moderate this important discussion, I invite Dr. Amit Singh, Chief Human Resource Officer, CARE Hospitals. He brings with him over 2 decades of cross-industry experience spanning healthcare, digital health, IT, consulting, education, and e-commerce. Having had senior HR leadership roles at organizations, he leads CARE's human capital strategy, driving talent, excellence, and a high-performance culture across the group. Dr. Amit, please step forward. May I also now request our esteemed panelists to join him on stage. Ms. Deepthi Raina, Head HR, ICRISAT. With over 19 years in HR consulting and leadership development, she has empowered more than 10,000 professionals through transformative talent initiatives. A passionate advocate for inclusive, future-ready organizations. Please join me in welcoming her. A round of applause, please. Next, please join me in inviting Dr. Kiran Adabala, CMO and Associate VP by Amtris, an occupational health leader and a dynamic physician with more than 15 years experience in health industry. Can we have the applause going for all? I now invite Ms. Shravantri Chakragali, Chief Operating Officer at Adapt, who leads enterprise-wide operations, drives strategic growth, and ensures multi-stakeholder alignment to deliver sustainable and scalable performance. Now, we welcome Ms. Janani Prakash, an award-winning HR leader and ICF professional certified coach, currently serving as Senior Vice President and Global Head of People and Culture at Ginzion. Lastly, please join me in welcoming K. Sudeep Kumar, a seasoned human resource leader with 28 years of experience across manufacturing, construction, and power sectors, currently with My Home Constructions. A warm welcome to all our panelists. Dr. Amit, over to you.
Thank you, Dina. Welcome, panelists. Welcome again. And it's an absolute pleasure to have this session. I think burnout, when you look at today, is not an individual problem. 2020, I think 19, WHO recognized this as an occupational phenomenon. And since then, we anticipate almost 9% of global GDP lost around stress and burnout. With that as reality, some of you have actually witnessed this live for yourselves. Some of you have witnessed it live for your family and organizations. You're all part of such large organizations. So today, the panel here with almost 20 years average experience, 120 years sitting on the table here, we'll talk about some really near misses, near incidences that this issue is causing our organizations. And more importantly, talk about how this reflects on our personal lives at all, within our organizations and our lives. Diti, starting with you, how have you seen this influence your organization? And have you been a victim of burnout at any point in time in life? And why I ask you this is, as a CHRO, I face this myself. And the dilemma for me is often that as a CHRO, if I'm talking about burnout, how do I come across to employees? And I think it's important that we speak about this subject nobly. Over to you, Diti.
Thank you so much, Amit. A very close question to me, and I want to talk about my personal experience. So, almost a decade back, when I was thriving, very energetic, wanted to prove myself, I was very high on ambition. I was working with one of the big MNCs, and I was feeling burnout. And what is burnout? Burnout is nothing but when you feel exhausted mentally, emotionally, physically, right? So what happened was I was working in a very good demanding role, and there was a leader who would just send emails in the midnight, 11, 12, 1, 2 in the midnight. And by the time I would come in the morning and open my laptop, my inbox would just be full of flooded with all the possible emails, and I would start my day with action. In the beginning, everything was okay because I was wanting to prove myself. And literally over a period of time, I felt overwhelmed and it was full of stress to me, which I realized over a period of time. And I was trying to prove myself and did not share. And finally, what I did after like 2 months of going through this, I went ahead and utilized this EAP program, which I had with my organization. Did a confidential counseling session. It did help me. I was able to reflect, pause, get a lot of clarity. And eventually, what happened was, this person, this leader I was working with, he came into office physically and I was just having a very business related conversation. And somewhere I thought, Dinti, you should talk to him. And I just got that courage and I spoke to him. So I addressed him and I said, you know what? I think you give me a lot of stress at work because your emails in the midnight, give me pressure and stress. And he looked at me and he paused and he said, do I really give you so much stress? I'm so apologetic about it. And he was so empathetic and genuine. I just realized it is so important sometimes to just convey what you feel. And then at the end of the conversation, it's very hearty conversation, and he left. Finally, the meeting got over. He went back to his work after a week or so. And what happened next? A week later, again an email comes in the midnight. Again. And you know what happens in the email? He says, I am working in my time zone. You don't have to reply at the earliest. And that was the biggest change that I saw that came to me, that I was heard. I have no burnout now because I have put across my point. The stakeholder I work with understand. And that was the story I just wanted to say. So at HR people, any industry that we work with, we all go through this. Unless and until you have that clarity, you have the conviction and courage to share, nobody else can address it for yourself rather than. So that's my point.
I think it's really great. I want to move to Shravanti, who's a chief operating officer currently with ADAPS. And Shravanti, I saw your profile, very interesting. You worked across industries. You worked in car manufacturing, Daimler, Biocon. Right? My first around burnout would be, is there an industry type to burnout? And then perhaps, is there a personal experience to burnout that you've had?
I echo with what Dipti said. It's all about an individual first thing. Organizations and the situations in the organizations definitely do contribute. For me, have I gone through? I think it's become a routine now. All of us talk about it, may or may not, many a time. Until I joined ADAPS and the role that I am in right now, I didn't realize I have been burnt out forever. When I joined here, it reflected so much because the role was new, the organization was new, and the time zones that I was working in was also new. Primarily, I would be agitated every minute, and it would show. Otherwise, my death was my signature, and everybody said, okay, fine, we recognize Shravanti for her smile. And I forgot to smile when I came in, and it's not about the organization, it is about me. It's about me who signed up for the assignment, but without realizing, I got into a stress of what Diti said, proving myself yet again, yet again, yet again. Who drives that? I think we choose to do that for ourselves. And that's when my boss, my CEO turns and says, it's he who recognized this and said, why are you always stressed? Do you think I'm going to hold you up for something which doesn't happen? I said, isn't that the truth? That's what happens in any organization, in any role that we take up, big, small, whatever. He says, what is your biggest fear? I said, I don't want to fail. Is there a possibility that we don't fail ever? Is there a guarantee? And he says, I make wrong decisions every day, multiple times. And who do I go to? And who's my fallback support system? At least I have for you. I don't have anybody. So if you and I get burned out, there's no way that we could run this. And the assurance that I got from him saying, we are here to make mistakes. That's how we grow. And if you think you are new in the role, I chose you. And every penny that is invested in this business is mine. So I should be at a risk, and Shravanti is not at it. That gave me a lot of assurance, I must say. Fun part, I mean, that was one part. And that's when I think that made me more sensitive towards observing the patterns in the others across my organization, which where I hold the entire responsibility. There's one wing of the business I noticed that there was lack of participation. There was no apathy or antipathy as such, but there was definitely an absence of participation from this group. And slowly, when I started noticing that, not just in the events, but also in the activities that could lead to their own development, could be the learning programs, could be anything else as such. And the discovery tells us saying there are so many stipulated hours to hours to believe that they have got the clock for the account. And that's it for me. And I cannot, I mean, how do I even solve that? Because there are 45 hours that they have got to clock in, 45 hours that I get money for. And that's my bread. And I can't compromise on that. And I said, how do I solve this? However, there's a solution for everything. And maybe a little bit of the HR that was there with me from my past life. I said, let me have this conversation with the client directly. And I proposed, I said, I have got 40 resources on your account and 40 to 45 hours. Is it the task that you would want to get completed? Or is it that the same person should complete it? The same person, the same number of hours. That's the trick. I said, fair enough. But I have an offer here. I got to put all of these people on a developmental plan so that they're ready for the future. So what's the guarantee that they will stick on my account? Fine, all those business conversations happen. And the ultimate contract that we got into is I will give you buffers for every resource. And I have to go to the campus, get the freshers, put them as the buffers, and those number of hours, these experienced resources were out to invest in their own development and all the activities that they had to participate in, which means they had time at their own disposal, and then the participation went higher, their satisfaction levels went higher, and they were chirpy, happy faces around. Result for the client, the employee stickiness has stayed at under 2% for 3 years consecutively, and we still are under that because employees feel secure. They are upskilled day and day, every day for the market and the agile changes in the market. They are ramped up. So they're secure. They also have their skills matched to every role they take up. So they know where they are leading themselves. Client, we were on match of work delivering to the client by upgrading the skills, upskilling the employees. They also proposed automation, and the entire client's platform is now automated. Hence, the client is double benefited than us. And that's a trusted partnership and a win-win situation for both employee, my relationship with the employee, and also with the client. Revenue is only going higher and not the other way around.
Fantastic. Dr. Kiran, I now want to bring you into the conversation from the Chief Medical Officer, control, the Chief Podiatrist. And I'm not only referring to podiatrists, I'm looking at you. How do you, from the occupational health, as a leader of occupational health, get one?
Good evening, everyone. So I have a little different perspective from what Deepti and Shravanti have told. So for me, burnout is not an occupational phenomenon. It's an occupational phenomenon, but we don't have a medical diagnosis for it as such, right? So it's not a skill issue as well. Because when you people have taken the employee, you would have tested his skills, right? So it's not a skill issue. It's neither a mental diagnosis which we have to make. That's point number one. So there are two types of burnouts which I would like to tell. A burnout which a normal person has, and as a doctor, we have a different type of burnout. For us, burnout is not fatigue of strength or what. For us, the real burnout is when we lose the patient, or when we are not able to send him back home on his legs. Right? So the same, if I have to say the direct impact of a direct supervisor on an employee is equivalent to a cardiologist's impact on that employee. You think you people have trained your managers to that level that they can put that impact on that employee? Anybody? No, right? Employer has a direct impact on someone's health. Right? We agree? Yes? Right. So now I'll tell you about burnout. Basically, why people are shy about speaking up. In India, burnout is seen as a stigma. You see that person who is telling you or complaining about burnout, you'll feel as if he's trying to escape work, right? And people are putting a stigma on that. So usually employees don't try to tell it out. Sorry. Okay. So my solution for this, I would agree with Dr. Amit on some points. It's deeply and Shravati with some points. Yes, burnout has its own complications. But here I would say that if you are having a little empathy towards the person whom you're directly supervising, and give him a fair chance to explain, he should be made comfortable. He should be able to express his inabilities or his thoughts. And I think that petty or unresponsiveness. You people are trying to train people to survive a fire. I would rather say we should try to save the building. Why try and save train them, right? So that's my catch on burnout. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I want you to come in. And I was reading a research to say that almost 84% of millennials that are entering the workforce, they're actually claiming that they've been a victim of burnout. Now, your experience, you've been with Deloitte in the past, including a lot of young talent. Today, you work with Zenzion as their HR leader. A lot of work in AI and automation. So, how do you think this whole AI automation bit is affecting stress and burnout in this current incentive workforce?
A great question. Who in this room is not affected with AI, positive or negative? Any hands? Positive, yes. Negative? Okay. We don't know whether it is positive or negative. And the rate of speed is like just super high, right? It's just uncatchable, so to say. I've been in large firms, and in the last 4.5 years, I've been in small to mid-sized organizations. Alongside that, there are several things that I have seen happening as a pattern. So I'm just going to draw out a few patterns here, if it makes sense, right? The first pattern is 2021, when COVID was slowly, the great resignation happened in 2020. 2021, great rejoining started happening. It's like we started hiring people left, right, and center, paid them anything we wanted. Investors were willing to put a lot of money. Early 22, market crashes, right? Because everybody overestimated and then overhired, paid tons of money, and investors started sinking. A lot of startups mushroomed. And then what happened? With the same speed they came, they all started going out, right? Like most startups started failing. Yes, some grew and some of them are even $1 billion now, right? Now, what this whole thing did was the mindset of an average Indian worker, knowledge worker, used to be like, okay, I will get a job, I will go work there, and it's done. Or if I'm a business person, I'm going to build a company, I'm going to have a legacy happening. Like I'll plan for my next generation leaders and their next generation leaders and so on. I think about my employees. Now, what has happened in the last few years? I'm building a company and I want to exit in 3 years. I want to make the maximum money, which means I'm going to hire people and I'm going to make people do whatever. But it's not like I'm unempathetic. But to the earlier burnout conversations of all the three of them, right? I'm just completely, hazed out. My aim is 3 years exit as a founder. So this is the landscape we are at, number one. Number two is AI came. 2022, we all started working from November. We all started experimenting with ChatGPT. Today, the ChatGPT is outdated. Every day, there is a new tool. Right? There's a significant pressure. And because of the investments that happened, investors have started asking for efficiencies, improvement in revenue. And that's also putting pressure, right? So in all of this, youngsters are not even getting jobs. Freshers are not being hired because your coding can be done by Claude or Gemini, right? Basic coding is done. So you need people who are able to think systemically. So basically, they don't know where to go. And how many of us in this room know what will we do 18 months from now? How many of us? I don't. I'm honest. I don't know. I can only prepare for like next 1 month or 2 months, 3 months. I don't think we have that awareness, and we have never seen this as a human race working in this country, at least to the knowledge that I have gathered from people. Right? I think that puts a significant amount of stress and burnout.
Wow. Yeah. Janki, I take two very, very pertinent points. I think first, the point that you said, we're all working, a lot of us are working for private equity invested businesses, and they want to time out in 3 to 4 years. So what used to be a marathon has now become a 100 meters race, which is every, you're saying 20 meters, 2020, right? So the pressure of performance is there, right? So I think it's amazing, and I think it's so disheartening to say that the younger generation don't have jobs because of the AI and automation. So I think there's equal stress on the millennium side. I have something that comes actually from brick and mortar. Yeah, Sudeep, you're the HR leader for My Home. And My Home is something that anybody that enters Hyderabad cannot miss. Right? You work for a traditional brick and mortar industry. How do you see stress and burnout? Very unlike the panelists that have spoken about from the modern industries. How is it different in your industry?
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually like, what Amit said, I'm from a different industry altogether. I'm from the core construction. In my industry, right, the burnouts are basically like, you have two categories of employees. You have a worker category and you have an employee category, staff category. When it comes to a staffing category, the burnouts are like, in case if the employee is working under the very under a leader who does a micromanagement, then yes, those guys comes under the burnout. In case the environment, if it's a sick environment, the employees comes under burnout. In case if the work is not recognized by the manager, then those guys are actually comes under burnouts. So burnouts, in fact, like somebody was mentioning in the morning, like it is no longer, it's an actually a line in a being profit and loss. In case if you look at the absenteeism, because that's when we calculate the kind of absenteeism directly proportional to that's my progress of my work, which is impact. In case if I am working for a project which is costing about 3,500 crores, out of which even if I extend 1 month, the delay is not less than about 120 crores. So there's a huge financial loss. But how do I do? How do I mitigate this issue? This is very important. So now we are trying to create a kind of a culture where employees are treated like employees. They are no longer treated like robotics. They no longer give them ample. The leaders are trained to be empathetic towards employees. So that's how we are mitigating these issues.
No, so I think you've touched a very, very important point. Began to speak first. So if you can drive empathy in the brick and mortar industry, I think that's great credibility team. Going back to what we discussed, I think very, very important points. I want to move to the second round of the discussion. We were doing some research in terms of the panel discussion for how we do, and we found that there were three really levels of stress and burnout. The first is exhaustion, where you're tired. That's the first phase. We're all beginning to be tired. Feel I need rest. I need to get sleep. The second stage comes futility, where you say, I'm cynical. Third stage comes really avoidance. I don't care. How do you see this in your respective organization? I'll start with you. You come from a very modern industry. Where do you think your segment will be in this entire segment? And if you were to, I know this is on the spot, if you were to look at between exhaustion, futility, and avoidance, how do you categorize your employees?
Thanks for this question. I think the modern industry is clearly about avoidance. You just want to find reasons for not doing anything because you know you don't have the right skills to execute, and hence you are not prepared to do a certain kind of job. So the industries I have worked for have been very modern, but just very recently I moved to an agri business industry. It is completely different out there. People are not modern. People are very traditional rather. So it is a skill versus will issue. So there is a will issue there, and in the modern industry, it is the skill issue. That is how I view it.
Beautiful. So, Kiran, you've been in operation, I have a question. Yeah. What are some strategies that we as organizations? It's imperative for business leaders and HR leaders to start looking at to address this problem.
I'll just take one word from him. He was telling about as HRs, we people see about absenteeism, right? We try to see the presenteeism. Right? We see the presenteeism of the employees who are physically present but cognitively down. So we try to give them the proper guidance, counseling required. I would say one session or two sessions of wellness will solve it. So even with the employee, his immediate supervisor is also counseled. He has to show that empathy. He has to be trained how to handle. And like they always say that if we have to get a work done from someone who is beneath us, we cannot expect him to come to our IQ level. We have to stoop down to his IQ level and get the work done. So this is how we train the supervisors and see that the employees are not fatigued or as said that they don't show interest in them. This is one way we do, and we have a monthly, what we say as a wellness campaign and on-site campaign by a psychiatrist as well. So it's also dependent on psychiatrist, and there is no stigma in that, and all the information is kept. It's not disclosed to anyone, not even to me. So the psychiatrist will have the one-to-one session. It's not disclosed to anyone. Anyone can just walk in. There is no chart made. There is no appointment time. She's available for the whole day. So anyone can just walk in, discuss, and come out. So we have removed that stigma part. And there have been changes. People have been changing. And one more good thing is that we have showed in webinars, we have explained them how sleep affects them. So even if you're stressed and you don't sleep, the next day you will definitely fatigue. The reason is you will lose millions of cells in a day. And if you're not sleeping, you're not giving your body enough time to recover what it has lost. Definitely the next day you will be very lethargic. So even if you're stressed, take some help and get some sleep. So that at least the next day you start fresh. There's always the next chance. That's what we say. Right? Thank you.
Thank you. Shanti, as a business leader, right? We always have some skills around how each leader manages stress to their own teams. What's been some successful strategies that you see implemented in your team, your organization as a business?
I relate to my experiences most of the time when I replicate that with, with my staff around. I was mentioning to Dr. Kiran earlier, the most interesting project that I handled in the last over 25 years of experience was the merger and acquisition. I mean, the merger with the Viatris business unit and Biocon Biologics. So it was boom and overnight news, like everybody else in the audience. I knew as well when I woke up in the morning that my company has acquired a company that's 4 times larger than itself. So it's just not from the money standpoint, it's also from the scope and from the geographical scope, and also the people, everything, and people capabilities as well. So we were nowhere closer to Viatris when we acquired it. And that was a shocker, more than a surprise for anybody else, including me. And I was made responsible for the integrations and people integrations, end to end of it. I knew nothing about the M&As, nothing about the medical sciences, and the doctors I had to onboard. However, the 1.5 years, I never realized when it was dawn or dusk, when it was a Sunday or a Monday. Yet I was running, and every day I woke up fresh because I knew what I was doing. I knew what difference I would make if I did the job well. Hence, it was focused learning. Hence, it was a targeted run that I had. And when the project finished, that was a sense of accomplishment. And I said, I have got to give this experience to everybody. What made a difference was I knew where I was running. I knew what difference I would make. And hence, it never tired me. It never burnt me out, despite the almost 24 by 7 kind of work that I did. I mean, not just me alone. There was a set of people, there was a team of people. And when I moved on and took on this responsibility of the entire organization, my first assignment that I took up was to give people a clarity of where do they make a difference. And every individual in my company knows the end story. Who is their end customer and what is the difference that they make to any life that they touch through their services, the IT services they make. May it be performance testing, may it be a navigation system that they work on, or it could just be a test of a product.
Wow. Actually, you're so right. To your point, I think clarity in direction, when leaders are able to bring clarity in direction, are supposed to be the biggest gifts of de-stressor, because everyone knows in the direction they go. Question over to you, Janani, as somebody that's been a part of a very large organization, right, like Deloitte, and there's burnout, there's attrition, and all of this is happening. As a HR leader, what is the metric you put to your CEO or business leader for him to understand that this is an actual problem? This is not an HR theoretical issue, soft issue that we're talking about. It's a serious problem, and probably somewhere it will add on to the books that we're talking about. How do you have those conversations?
This is a tough one, okay. I don't know why he chose to ask this to me, but let me attempt it. So here is one of the examples that happened in one of the firms that I work. I don't want to name it. This team actually, this is a team that went through a lot of run. They did really well, and then we had recession. But this team stayed back amidst everything. They were not paid a lot. Market started hiring after the recession, yet they did not leave. This is one part of the story, right? Like this is just one story. Now there is another team on a totally different time frame. The entire team is unhappy, and then it all starts showing up. Now, the two, three areas that I can distinctly talk about is number one, it shows in your attrition. Clearly, in the attrition, voluntary versus involuntary attrition. Involuntary, if the manager is, just does not want somebody and then just say not good, and then it moves then to voluntary. Voluntary is people start looking out. They've given up to your three variations of stress that you called out. They're in the third. They don't care. They're right. So that's the first one that shows. The second one is engagement index. Engagement index is how engaged am I? Like, do I know the vision of the organization? Do I know what is in it for me? Do I know how my work is contributing to the end customer? To the example that she was talking about, right? Work is like that. Who will not stay? Who will not be engaged? Right? And if there's a safety net around, safety net is like will not let you fall. Not that. When you're falling, they'll let you hold you. That. So the second real factor is engagement index. Third is cost of replacement is always higher than the cost of retention. That part. So you can definitely show when you're hiring replacement, at least in the industry that I am in, I recognize that it's a very diverse forum, right? We pay 40% higher and sometimes it's like 50, 60 there. I'm seeing some known talent acquisition leaders. It's just a lot of money just to acquire talent. But every time acquiring a talent like that, you're losing your margin, right? But when you put the team together, you're thinking, I will get so much revenue and this will be my margin percentage. You're not aware that it's continuously shrinking because something somewhere has gone wrong, right? And this is all related to stress. Maybe the estimations went wrong. Maybe people are not treated well. Maybe the culture is not good. We'll have to investigate. So these are few parameters that I'm able to clearly call out. The last but very important one, career roadmaps not being defined. Very, very vital, right? I just want to quote one small example here. Many years back, in a large team, they were, let's say, they were about 300, 400 when I was holding fort for them. They were going to become double in headcount. And it was an opportunity for us to relook at how we redefine the group in such a way that for the next 3 to 4 years, the group will remain vibrant. There is a career growth opportunity and everything else, right? So there was an order code that came for going ahead and hiring because it was a doubling headcount meeting. A lot of enthusiasm, obviously. Then I just said, I called the business leader and I said, this is an opportunity. These are the things I think we could potentially do. And he was open to it. The entire team came together. What we did was we looked at who all can get promoted. We did not hire for those levels. We hired for the next levels. We looked at skills that were already dying and we put them in a plan and so that they're able to move ahead. This is like 2 years ago. Right now, I can't even put people on a plan for learning and making them deployable, right? Like it's the skill base has become so different. So I just think that it's intentionality, and with this, the group became so efficient for the next 3 to 4 years. So when opportunities like these come rarely. Again, back to your point, attrition, retention parameter, the workforce planning and metrics from that, engagement index, cost of hiring versus replacement. These are really what I wanted to say.
Thank you. I just want, I just wanted to add something to what Janani said. See, before hiring, what we do is we give them the roles and responsibilities and so on and so forth. But then, after joining, when you put him in a site, the head of the department, he uses wherever he wanted to use. Honestly, let's everybody accept. I think, this happens in my industry. Initially, he will be hired for one role. Then ultimately, when somebody doesn't turn up, then probably he'll be used as a site engineer, site manager, everywhere. With that, the gentleman will come under stress. Over a period of 1 month, 2 months, that's fine, that's accepted. That cannot be continued for. At some point of time, there's a break point. Then he thinks, is it really required for me? Then that's when people really comes into the burnout. And then that's when the people will start looking out for the jobs. In case, as somebody said, right, said, the replacement cost is higher than the original cost.
So I want to continue. You've had a relevant experience. You've worked with SR and Avarna. And again, I'll go back to your industry time. You're mostly on the floor and at the stations where work is actually happening. How do you look at engagement? This must be a very difficult phenomenon because you're not in office environment. It's mostly on the floor. How do you sort of tie all of this together?
This is actually like, even at times, we also feel the same. But in each side, I'll tell you my man, about the workforce. On average, I will have about 2,000 people and the workers working at one single site. And under the staffing category, I have about 300 people. So managing sitting at here, it's an extreme possible. So we generally we have our own people working. In the sense, we have in a hierarchy, the HR manager works there, and from them, we try to manage the entire workforce there.
No, great. I think I'd love to continue, but I think with the fact end of time, I also want good time for the second panelist. So I will wrap this with, if you were to give one lasting message to this 100 plus, business HR leaders, what would be the one message you want to leave them with today?
Create some good culture in the company. Honestly, I'm telling you, nothing beyond it. Recruit good leaders who have empathy to their employees.
Wow. Janani, what would be your message to all of us here?
I think we own our well-being as individuals, and all of us are leaders. First, we need to take care of ourselves, right? We can't serve from an empty cup. So, are we taking out that time for ourselves, for our exercise, for our meditation? So, pardon me, I can't be without telling. I think first we need to take care of ourselves. Then we are centered, we're able to provide what is needed. So that's my take.
Get on your own mask before you have somebody else's. Yeah. Shravanti, as a business leader, What is one message you want to give to our HR community here on burnout?
Retell, reiterate, assure, reassure that it's okay to make mistakes. Everybody fails and it's okay to fail. That's how you rise and grow.
Brilliant. Now, as a pure clinician inside your occupational health, how do you look at one leaving message for all of us?
I would just say have the same empathy towards your juniors or seniors as you have to your own family member. He's also a human being. He's also working to earn money to earn his bread. So that same empathy, if you can give him, you can get the results you want from them. That's
Brilliant. I think I'll make it tough for you. You worked across contrasting industries, Bank of America and an agribusiness. Like, what would be your experience in each of them in terms of what you want to leave us with? Because you would have different takeaways for both industries.
See, I may have had different experience with different industries, but the ground rule is people will remain same. So there is nothing that will differ out here. And I would agree with all my other fellow panelists, whatever they said is actually right. And what I would say is for me, what has worked the most is take care of yourself. Because there has been a courage to pause, there has been a courage to reflect, there has been a courage to be fully aware and gain that clarity. And sorry, I'm talking probably a coaching language because that is what we are taught mostly, and that is what we teach our students. So this is what I think will help, no matter which career the person comes in. Because in agri, you get a lot of people who are at a, who are white collared, blue collared, and then in the tech side you have everybody coming from the elite educational knowledge, elite industries, right? So the ground rule is the moment you respect people, the moment you show empathy, you are going to gain that respect. Make sure that you are giving opportunity to people, and at the same time be human. I think last but not the least, take care of your mind. I think your mind is going to control you rather than letting the mind control you over. So that is how I believe it.
Brilliant. I think this has been a great discussion. Something that I often tell myself on burnout is, if I've reached so far, I don't let somebody else judge me and decide how they evaluate it. Over the last 5 years, I've been very conscious about how I evaluate myself. And I think that's been a big, huge turnaround in my own well-being. Today, there's enough research to tell us that organizations that have better well-being actually outperform their peers by 25%. Innovative organizations actually take care of this in a much dignified way. So today, this has become a business imperative. With that, I'd really like to thank you for your thoughts, directions, and perhaps a very lasting impression in the overall discussion. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you.
Thank you, Alice, for this wonderful, insightful exchange, and Dr. Ahmed for beautifully moderating the session. While they remain on the dais, I request our Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Pawan Kumar, and our Zonal Hospital Chief Operating Officer, Nilesh Gupta, sir, to please come forward to give the mementos. And a good round of applause for all the panelists. That was a very nice discussion. Yes, our photographer had a lot of good message. Ms. Shanti, please.
Thank you, Dan. That's very insightful. Thank you, Dr. Pawan. Thank you, Mr. Nilesh. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a wonderful session. And the team.
Okay. We now transition to our second discussion. Healthy employees, stronger organizations, the power of preventive care. I request Thank you, Dr. Amit. Thank you, Dr. Milish. So again, we now transition to the second discussion. Healthy employees, stronger organizations, the power of preventive care. I request our CEO, Dr. Pawan, to come forward to moderate this session. Sorry, I'm sorry for the confusion. Dr. Nikhil Mathur, Chief of Medical Services, CARE Hospitals. Dr. Nikhil leads clinical governance and patient safety across India. An expert in emergency medicine, he is the driving force behind the group's clinical excellence. Please welcome Dr. Nikhil Mathur. Now I request our panelists to come forward. Ms. Malini Chatterjee, VP and Head Human Resources for VICAT, an experienced human resource director to demonstrate his skill of working in the sanitation industry. Secondly, welcoming Mr. Praveen Chanda, Head Human Resources, India and Africa at Global Data, a seasoned HR leader with over 2 decades of experience across business information services, IT and ITES. Please welcome Mr. Pramod Kumar Vibraka, Vice President, Human Resources at CTEL Infosystems Private Limited, a seasoned leader driving people strategy and organizational excellence. Next, please welcome Dr. Sridhar Kodiganti, a distinguished medical leader with over 26 years of experience in occupational health and safety across the oil and gas, pharmaceutical, and R&D sectors, currently serving as Head of Occupational Health and Wellness at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. Jointly welcoming Ms. Shalini Reddy, an HR leader with 22 years of experience in data and consultant services and presiding chair for Bosch. She leads safety, well-being, and inclusions at TCS Hyderabad. Thank you, panelists, for joining us today. And Dr. Nikhil, over to you.
Just seeing whether the mics are working. Thank you, Lina. That was a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate that. So, good evening, everyone. I think today's discussion centers around the powerful truth. How employees' health is directly linked to organizational performance and sustainability. In many organizations, what we see today in healthcare is traditionally has been compliance driven, whether it is periodic health checkups, safety audits, and insurance coverage. But in the industry is exposed to occupational hazards such as dust, noise, heat, physical strain, that approach no longer will work. I'll give you some statistics before we start this panel discussion. Statistics about non-communicable.
So if you see the total number of deaths which happen worldwide, 65 to 75% of the deaths are because of non-communicable diseases. And I'm talking about non-communicable diseases for all the audience. It is like cardiovascular, cancer, respiratory, followed by diabetes and hypertension. So 65 to 75% of the deaths are due to non-communicable diseases. Out of this, 25% are premature deaths in India. And I'm talking about premature deaths is somebody who dies between an age of 25 to 60 years. That is considered as a premature death. Similar thing in the US is around 12 to 15%. So that means that we have to work long way about preventing this, how to prevent this non-communicable deaths. So that brings let me open the forum for discussion and question things. So first question is for Ms. Malini Chatterjee. Malini, wonderful to have you today. You bring a strong blend of operational depth and people strategy to the HR function. So my question to you is, from your perspective as an HR leader, why should preventive healthcare be positioned as a strategic organizational priority rather than just an employment benefit?
Thank you, Dr. Nikhil. It's a very important question. So let me come back to the business dynamics a bit. So for any business to be successful, there are 4 M's that is required. That is man, money, machine, and material. So material might not be good to go for AI-driven organizations, but for me, any engineering organization, any big, large manufacturing organization, material. But the most critical is man. And we HRs, we take care of the man part. So how do preventive health take care? I mean, how does it benefit the organization dynamics, the bottom line? So when you go for preventive health checkups, that's a mandatory to join any organization. But other than preventive health checkups, there are many aspects that have to be taken while we are navigating through the most dynamic part called man, which has a sane mind, and they get stressed if they are not engaged. There is a significant amount of absenteeism rate if they are not engaged, because in my organization types, there are the blue collar, there are the white collars. And like Mr. Sudeep lastly quoted, if you have a leader who is micromanaging, that staff will be more stressed. So taking care of preventive health in any organization is of utmost importance because it brings down your absenteeism rate. Your bottom line is improved because your quality of work goes up. And then there is a lot of employee engagement, and mental well-being is also taken care of. So preventive health, now organizations are shifting from uh, uh, to mode of preventive health other than mandatory health checkups, and a lot of engagement activities like talking to the psychiatrist, going for medical sessions, talking openly to your frontline managers, telling them what are the problems, getting to understand when to complete the task, when not to. It gives a lot of focus this way, and this way the employees and the organizations are gaining to this with their significant enlargement in their bottom line. So engaged employees, they contribute almost 25% higher profitability in any organization than disengaged employees. Thank you.
So just a question leading from that. So you work for Bharti Cements, and,
Yeah.
and it's a different ball game when it comes to cement and all that.
Yeah.
So do you in your organization today have any checkups, health checkup, periodic health checkups? Looking at your respiratory, hearing, etc., or it is like a generalized health checkup which a regular organization have?
No, it's a mandatory reporting structure now that ESG governance has come in a big way, and it's a mandate
for any organization to report. So this is a mandatory given a sustainable rating. But when any employees join an organization, it's mandatory that he goes to the health checkup. And year on year, we have the health checkup plans for all the employees, be it in the site, be it in the corporate office. And then from time to time, we have the Wellness Wednesdays programs, wherein we just talk about what health topic and we sensitize the employees about that health. One day it might be related to cancer screening, how do you go about, what are the preventive measures for diabetes. I mean, we take up one topic and every month we speak about the Wellness Wednesdays what we conduct in the organization.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Praveen, coming to you, you have a diverse experience of 20 plus years in HR leadership in IT especially. So question is, how can HR and healthcare organization jointly design, preventive programs for their employees? Thanks for asking that question. Thank you for having us here, firstly, and bringing such an important topic to the context, which is again the most burning topic other than the burnout. And this is also an important topic. Burnout is more of a reactive measures now. Preventive care is the most focused subject at the moment because we do not want to be in the reactive stage. We want to be in the proactive care stage. It's a very interesting topic, right? Over the years, workforce, workplace, work environment has evolved significantly in the last few years, thanks to COVID, the way it was accelerated, and also the culture of Indians, how we want to over-operate and aim high, right? More than we consider our health as the least priority and then work. That has been there in our culture, and that is definitely impacting the health and the workforce health in today's world, right? So this is where the joint partnership between the healthcare providers and the HR partners in the organizations comes to a very critical stage and a critical role to play in how we jointly together address this to grow as what organization wants us to do. Right? It is said that it's not the employees who build the organizations. It's not the organizations who build the employees, it's the employees who build the organizations. But now I think we should say those healthy employees who build the organizations, right? That's the importance of health of the employees that is addressed today because of our evolving workplace, workflows, and the overall environment that has been changing. And it is significantly impacting on the health of the employees, which is causing, again, if you look at our metrics, there are so many metrics that you can look at, like productivity metrics, your psychological safety metrics, your engagement survey metrics, your insurance claim analytics. Shows a lot of data on how this evolved over the years in terms of the team. And today we are dealing with a lot of young workforce, and we know how, you were talking about at the age of 25, people are having cardiac disease. That's the era that we're living in, There were days when cardiac arrest or cardiac issues, we used to say people have grown up, they're very old and then it's happening. But now it can happen to anybody. That's because of the lifestyle disease, sedentary lifestyles and all that's happening. As partners, as healthcare partners and HR partners, has the highest responsibility to address this on how we are going to do with this generation. Right? So I would look at 3 I's, right? How to insightful, influence, and how you interpret, how you measure it. Right? So HR has got quite rich workforce data in terms of your productivity metrics, absenteeism, surveys, and then your insurance claim analytics. And then on the other side, the healthcare providers has a lot of data around, the trend analysis, insurance analytics, and then a lot of insights about, which target audience or which segment of people have which segment of issues. Of late, if you see this entire belt has so many corporate hospitals that have spruced up because they know, what's happening with this industry, and they know that this is the good customer base to have these hospitals, right? So that's insightful. You're here to support us, provide good health services, but it is also a fact that we need to look at that they have a lot of data on why they're coming up here. Now, when these 2 data points come together, they form a very solid and significant strategic way of how we can address the issues with the employees and how we can strategize our preventive healthcare measures. So So that's on the insightful. There's a lot of data that we can, accumulate to drive a very strategic objective. And then comes, how we influence. It's not just about awareness or just organizing some sessions and then bringing awareness about a subject. It's about influencing the behavior of the employees. How do we do that? It's the leadership advocacy. Manager role model, playing the manager role model. It has to be part of your discussions. It has to be part of your, PMS as well. Your performance appraisal process as well, right? Talking about health should not be a stigma. Like, earlier panel was talking about, today if you talk about your mental health issues or your burnout issues, stress out issues, we see that as a capability issue with the individual. We don't see it as an issue that we need to address as an organization. Rather, we see it as a capability issue. And that's where we need to stop thinking, we need to change, we need to evolve with our thought process. We need to look at the ways of working that we are implementing in the organization and change the culture for good. So that's another way to do it. As leaders, we need to influence how important is health. It's okay to talk about health if you're burnout, if there are stress issues, there are health issues, it is okay to talk. Make it very common, talk in your town halls, talk in your one-on-one sessions, the managers, sensitize the managers, talk about health and bring that awareness, sensitization, right? That's when your behavior will change. It's easy for employees to come and talk about health issues and then we can accordingly strategize preventive health events. And then comes, how you measure it, right? A strong collaboration between healthcare partners and HR measures the metrics to see how we are doing well and what are the ways to improve it, right? So you look at both the outcomes, health outcomes in terms of the productivity metrics and look at your, claim analysis that tells whether your strategies are working or not. And then to your business metrics. These are two go hand in hand, and then that's how we need to devise the strategies by working partners. And we need to look at preventive healthcare as not as a cost, but as a business enabler, right? A lot of HR folks will understand, the minute you say care insurance takes a lot of time, time to secure approvals. When we're talking about preventive health, again, it's a cost, how do we get it? But not look at from the lens of the cost, look at from the lens of business enabler, right? Growth enabler. The healthy workforce, healthy productivity, healthy, margins, and then higher engagement, higher retention. These are all costs, right? If you are saving significantly by just doing something which is easy to organize by looking at their own data and partnering with your healthcare provider. So I think together we can make a very insightful and meaningful impact on employees. And prevention is better than cure, say. So that's how we see it.
Thank you, Praveen. A very insightful answer. I think you answered many of the questions what I had for other panelists. So coming to Mr. Pramod, I think Praveen spoke about the metrics and how to monitor. So the question is, how can leaders ensure these metrics are just not tracked? They are actually translated into actionable insights that strengthen the workforce resilience.
Thanks. My panel members have already covered even before panel members. The panel discussion was also on to the good part of the same way. Here, I think that our care team has really brought down the panel members first on these topics. Okay, and secondly, I would say that the HR professional are the first guy who is always into the burnout and stressful for any organization of any industry. Am I right? My colleagues, am I right or wrong? Because we are the scapegoat for the employer, for the employees. So we talk about the burnout, stress, but nobody speaks about ourselves. So thanks to the care team brought us over here to have that discussion on this. See, every organization nowadays have the awareness of the health partners, and due to their shifting over towards the corporate business way, they have given a good awareness to many organizations. See, our industries are having some levels like big industries are there, level 5, especially the IT sector, talking about level 5, level 3, like that. And manufacturing also, the big industries are also there. But the facilities with the level 5 or level 3 means large industry and small scale industries are having a different phenomenon of environment. See, we can give to the employees many things, but where the pockets are not aligned by the businessman to enforce it. So keeping on to that limitation, the HR guide makes the total facilitation for the employees for the betterment of the health of the employees. So that is a great art by the HR leaders, those who are performing in all the industries. Really, I hats up to my faculty. Second is preventive healthcare checkups are coming to us, like on the vision side. In IT side, I'm talking about because I'm at the IT sector now. Main is the eye vision and the stressful management is a very means you may say it's a very challenging note for us because these guys they always are on the system. So the vision checks and all we carry out, and even to the stressful management with the like we have fun activities like which is also one type of motivation to the employees. Like we conduct wellness programs like yoga, as Miss Sanani said, and sometimes we have some dance activities, some fun activities among the employees. Care out the stress management what they feel in the workplaces. Second is the hygiene factors in the workplace management system and in the pantry system. This is given a great lesson in the COVID times. I'm talking about the middle level of the industries where people used to have the outside foods, right? And the fast foods and the things and all. Now the organization has covered up with some pantry systems in a small place also. People are able to have their foods and all and with a good hygiene. That is also has a good improvement in the health management in the preventive practice. Now we go for this. Sometimes there are some outings are given. There is nothing but to stress management which we carry out by giving this opportunity to our employees. The most message which I would like to give to the total forum is awareness. Till date, we all are educated. Till date, people fear to tell the actual truth, the actual disease they have. Especially my female colleagues, which I'm talking about the industry where I have served, they know what is a cancer. They know what is other diseases, communicable, non-communicable diseases. They have been taught about that. We conduct training programs, but never come out. And when the health camp will be there, we see the absenteeism with those guys also. So, mandate to make it on the appraisal system as we have kept some points on the health checkup spots. Those indexes also give the indicators to give the health, that means appraisal system also. So they are now mandate to go with those things. And especially I thankful to all the health partners. Not only CARE, I'm talking about many other partners approach us. They come up with some checks and they really give us the clear-cut index and indicators. Boss, you have to go with this employee like that. Another major thing is that some due to this test, the people are having sometimes that is where we found out that in the professionalism as well as the an individual is going. Family problems you cannot discuss with anybody in the organization, especially up to some extent. They do. And apart from the professional pressure like AI inceptions and all, where 5 workforces are working, now it has come to 2 people. So the pressure said the product is having the same thing, the delivery lines are same thing, and the AI concept which has entered inside is not so much having a high speed in the Indian culture. So that is also giving sometimes a pressure of the work and imbalances are causing the deflection of the human growth in the profession. So taking care of this, we should conduct meditation. Sometimes we do it in the morning hours. Sometimes we play. You don't mind, we play Shiva Stotram in the early morning when we open the house to have a fresh mindset of the people to come out and have a good approach towards the workplace. So these are things which we look into, and I hope many industries have adapted also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pramod. Very insightful conversation, and I think taking forward on the question what you said that people don't participate. I don't know whether it's a taboo, they are scared, there might be many reasons. So this question to Dr. Sridhar is, how do we increase participation of employees in this preventive health checkups? I think that's a very important thing what Mr. Pramod had said. And what are the practical aspects? What do you as an organization do? You being a doctor yourself, how do you encourage the employees to participate? So we'd love to hear all these things.
See, my take is little bit different when it comes to how do we encourage them. We need to step back and look at the age range of employees or whoever is working at your organization. They can start right from 18, where you have some trainees, apprentices, and right up to 60 years of age. So if you want to help them participate, it's like horses for courses, right? So same thing, you have to create a program or engage them in those activities or trainings that suit their age. Uh, if you go from a mental health side, let's go young age, 18, 20 years of age. They have just passed out of college. They're coming to a work atmosphere. They have shifted from their home into a hostel or somewhere room. The whole world has changed where they were behind parents, they're no more with parents, and they're coming to a world where they're not eating the home food. There's something else that has changed. So how do we train and build them into a successful place? Those are the courses that HR team has to think and say, okay, fine, this is a new group that is coming to our fraternity. So we need to take care of them. It can't be a one-off session. It should be something that should go like a year long or 6 months to ensure they all coming to the work culture. That's one of the things that comes. You step into 25 to 35 or 40 years of age, they have a different thing, right? They are married, they get married, they get kids, right? That culture and the world changes. And there is a family that they get into with a kid. So here you have to plan some preventive care where it supports their family and the kids are taken care of. Innovative way of crèche these days. There are many organizations providing the crèche facilities not in their work atmosphere industry. They're providing near to your house. They tie up, partnership is done, and they're taken care of. That's one way. And once you cross 40, 45 years of age, your your lifestyle has changed. Now you're trying to save and try to understand how you can plan your future. So the retirement savings, the education of those will help a lot in lessening the stress of the employee and also making a plan for the future. So that's a financial planning can come from younger age up to the last retirement time, but you need to plan some preventive care according to. That's one part. Mental health comes the same way. When you're in younger age, you have different stresses and different way of dealing with it. These days, Gen Z, they are like a switch. They are like this today and tomorrow they're totally different. We have seen a lot of them going like that. And for me, a holistic wellness care in an organization plays a very good role rather than running one yoga session in a month or something. You have to build the holistic care and wellness team as a fabric of your organization. They should be part of it. They should be available 24/7, and there has to be a plan like any other team. They should be part of the team. If it were is there, it will automatically take care. There are a lot of organizations already doing it. When your health checkups are all been discussed, I don't want to discuss on that. That is part of your physical, mental health. So combine that and make sure the data and whatever the discussions that happen between those employees and the wellness teams or the medical care professionals should be kept confidential. HR should stay away from it. They should not try to access or ask for details. You stay away from it. Employees, once they get to know that, yes, what I discussed is my own, nothing to do with that, definitely that organization will thrive. That's what I think.
Thank you, Dr. Sudha. Very insightful. I'll move to Shalini. I think what he was saying is that it should not be by force, the preventive health checkups and all that. So the question too is, how can we embed this preventive health checkups into every day as a work culture? And not just as a program, but as sustained practice. So I think it's a very important point that it should not be by force, but how do you make it happen as an everyday exercise?
Actually, I totally agree with that, and that's how we do it. So I'll tell you how we are doing. Okay.
So we don't mandate health checks, or we don't mandate preventive health checks. We encourage employees. So, and what I feel is, if people have to become a resilient uh, workforce on the health front, first of all, the framework should be much more resilient. It has to be robust. It has to be continuously learning and adapting itself so that it is, easy for people to take up. So what we have done is we have, like for example, we have doctors and paramedics inside the office. So if there is an emergency, medical emergency, there's somebody there to take care of them. Then we also felt that if between the gap of the incident and the doctor coming in, there is somebody who has to take care of them. So what we did is we trained the people who are inside the teams, and we certified them with the help of the hospital partners, of course. We trained them and we certified them and said that if there is an incident, this is how you have to handle it. For example, administering the CPR. So even before the doctor comes, there is somebody who's taking care of it. And then every time we do a program, we do an event, we do a session, the data, the input for that comes from what we have been doing all this while. So what type of illnesses are happening? What type of incidents are happening? What type of programs people are uptaking? So we take that and we ensure that this learnings are incorporated whenever there's a event that is being organized. Now, the other thing is, so we try to see that we have created a framework that is in fact, when COVID hit us, it was a true test of how resilient our framework was, and we were able to, absorb the stress. We were able to, adapt to the new challenges and take it forward and help people. So when we've been doing all these things, people have been noticing that healthcare for this organization is not something that's the mandate. It's not just there in the policy, but my company really cares for my well-being. So also what we did is every time a package is given to people, we say that it's not just one person. You are comfortable. Like for example, if it's a mental health, it comes with a lot of stigma. How much ever we do awareness, we say that the organization accepts mental health just like how we accept physical health, but still there is stigma. So what we did is you're comfortable talking to your managers, you're comfortable talking to your HRs, you're comfortable talking to your friends, colleagues. So there are a lot of people that are available for you. So we trained the people, we brought in professionals, we have counselors, we have psychiatrists. Round the clock, they are available. So anytime you have some support that you need, there are people around. And you choose what type of offering you want, what type of person you want to reach out to, whether it's the medical professional or counselor or the friend who is trained, certified. So what we did is we reached out to people and said, we care for you. So in fact, our programs are also branded in that way. CARE is a mental health program that we do. Safety First is one of the physical health program. We do wholesome health is what we provide. Maitri is somewhere we do a lot of sports type of an activity. So we incorporated these small habits into our people, saying that you do this. This is going to help you in getting better on your health or building your mental muscle. So we provided a bouquet of things and we encouraged people to pick up what is relevant for you, what is going to work for you at that point of time. So that's how I think slowly we were able to build that culture where people wanted to take up health checkup. Yes, we are interested. We want to do for it. We do not want a master health checkup. That's okay. Something very relevant to me is not true. So there is a health camp that is organized on health. So that's how we curated the programs. We provided choices to people so that they feel that this is relevant for me. So I will.
That's very insightful. I think coming out, I think you spoke a lot about mental health. I know it is now one of the major problem which many of not only corporates, whether it's government offices, whether it's hospital industry, everybody face. So this question is an open question anybody can take. How do we have, like, some organization have a best buddy kind of a concept? Some organization, as you were saying, has psychiatrists, psychologists. How do we work on this mental health aspect for all the employees working in your respective organizations?
So first thing is, again, like I mentioned, we have to make it very common. Mental wellness, again, a lot of organizations still see it as a social taboo and manages sensitization, right? Somebody having mental wellness issue or physical issue or their burnout should not be seen as a capability issue or a skill issue. Should be seen as a working based issue, right? The way we are working. One, sensitizing the managers, then bringing awareness that it is okay to have issues and it is open to talk and it is fine to talk. Even if you have reservations about talking to your fellow colleagues, managers, HRs, everybody's involved. You have your employee assistance program, then you have employee counseling sessions that are organized. So these are the ways that employees can get that addressed. And we speak in our town halls about it. Right? We make it so common that it is easy to go and say, it is fine to say, I've got a mental health issue, I have stress issue, I have burnout issue, I have stressed out issues. And we make it so common that people can so comfortably talk about it. I think that's the way we need to do it to make it very common and people come out and speak about it. As long as we consider seeing that as an issue in terms of capability, skill, productivity, and all, then that's never going to come and it is continuing to be an issue. And then there's so many digital apps that have come now, including CARE, all the hospitals have come with chatbots and all. It's so easy now, it is so accessible, right? It is not a private session that you have to book or a confidential session that you have to book and then talk about it and then discuss about it, right? It is on your fingertips. You just open your app and then schedule an appointment and just talk to the doctor, what is happening. And as organizations, we also track. Obviously, we don't have the employees detail, but we know number of employees who are availing this service. That's a clear indicator to tell us there's something wrong in the system that we need to fix. It gives you by BU-wise or team-wise data for us to just preventive healthcare. Right? It will help us a good data insight for us to devise a plan on what is working and what is not working and where are the pocket of issues that are there and how we embed that into the system, how we embed that as a culture and continue. I think these are the ways that we need to make it as a norm of your daily life, and then it's part of your daily conversations. That's where the effectiveness has come from the statistics. That worked for us, so important sharing.
You said many topics on this. Okay, the only one thing I would say that people in the workplace they should be made more comfort by the thought process, by the way whatever the work they do. The freedom they get it, and the empathy means togetherness given by the HR departments or the manager, the line managers or the department managers. They are supposed to be more given training to take care of their team members in a larger way around, like lunching out and all. Many activities are involved in that to get that stressful. Second point is that, like in every organization, I'm talking about not only in what Madam says, she's from TCS, is a very big giant. Okay, they have all the facilities. Like a middle-sized companies and all, they don't be able to afford also. So at that situations, what I suggest is that like the fire training programs are conducted like first aid should be given monthly basis and so to people to give the awareness of what is the immediate requirement whenever anything happens on the medical front of it. And CRPLC said it's correct, it should be given the training to the employees. And the immediate, the first aid, whatever you give it, don't put your brain in that yes, I can do this, water pilado, that will not work out. Give the first aid immediately and let the doctor take care of it. So they are the professional for that. So putting more brain to prove ourselves generally gives a wrong indicator towards the patient who comes in. And the counseling factor, when it has been done, it should be one-to-one in a close view, where it should be also, as all said, it should be confidential. Really, the HRs also should not be get into the system on that. That will work out. And now it is the top online. Everywhere on the technical aspect of the apps, it is available. So he can book it, he can give the guidance with the best, and he can do for the top online.
Shalini, you had a point.
Okay. For me, one thing that an organization can do, especially in supporting mental health, is one is commitment from the top management. That has to be there. Once that is there, automatically everything falls in place. Second one, we need to train certain managerial level personnel, especially those who have some robotics to them. They need to be trained similar to a first aid training program. There are many mental health first aid programs. If they are trained, they'll be able to pick up any red flags coming out of their employees, the stress or anything. The moment they see, they'll have that empathy, they understand what it is, and they can ensure that person is taken care of before it ends on the person's side.
You had one comment.
I just wanted to say two, three points. One is we have created a category in health in leads at one category. This category is emotional well-being. So if you one fine day which you wake up and you feel that you do not want to go to office because whatever reason, apply the other emotional well-being. It's accepted by the first.
It's a fantastic over what you created.
Yes, so that's like a commitment from the organization. And then we are training, or we are sensitizing the leaders to become much more empathetic leaders. And that's a regular activity that is happening so that they know, first of all, care for leaders we do, then we are training them as empathetic. So because we know that even leaders go through processes. So we do that, we give that care to the leaders and also train them.
Only one last question before I take the last views from all of you. Is, as an organization, there, as somebody was saying, top management, middle management, there are people who are not very educated also. So how do you manage your educational activities to people who don't understand probably the medical terms, the first aids, etc., etc.? Is there some educational activities you do for them also to educate them on what are the how do you examine yourself? There's some when to ask for help, etc., etc.
This we do it at the site level because in the corporates they are not there. It's usually the blue collar people who they don't understand what is required. So what we have is we have the small CSR activities where we try to sensitize these type of people in their own language because understanding is more important. So the community around us and as well as the right blue collar people and the contract workmen who do not understand what is required. So there are small sessions which we conduct under the Wellness Wednesdays where we try to sensitize these communities and the communities beside them. Because there is a community in the mining category where they just understand dust coming to their villages. We have a set of land losers who have given their lands for the organization. So we are concerned about them and they are the community around us. The organization can only thrive when the communities beside us are also thriving. So making them aware what is required, what is required for the public health, what is required for the sanitation, what is required for the physical health. So we conduct these wellness sessions at the site levels also. So we tell them what is good. And even the children also, the children of the mining community, we tell them what is required, what is not required, how do we keep our physical health good, how do we contact. We have the small centers in the villages and we have a we have a small ambulance kind of that goes around in the village. So any villager or any community worker or any blue collar worker gets an emergency, they can touch base on the ambulance, community ambulance, that goes around once every day through the villages. So they are sensitized, they can take care, they are taken care at that.
Nice to hear that, because I think that society also needs to be educated and taken care of. Thank you for this. So last take home message from each one of you, starting from Shalvi.
So preventive care, when you provide to people in the organization, it helps in building a resilient workforce. And when we have resilient workforce, when we have a resilient framework in the system, then I think that's a thriving culture that any organization.
When it comes to preventive care, if you take care of them even before something starts to happen, right? Not only the employee, you need to focus at their family, the spouse and the kids. You take care of that, you will get 100% from the employee. That's what it is.
Prevention is really, it is a great word, but at the same time, I would say that need not to worry. First of all, you prevent yourself, because especially the leaders, yeah, HR guys, you get your things done first. You tell me any HR over here, how many have gone with the health checkups? Raise your hand. In the last 2 3 months. Why? Because we don't have time. We are for the employees, are working for them. So better let's go with our first. Let us go with the preventive care systems by us first. Then make them to go with that. Second is nothing to worry, nothing will happen because doctors are there behind of us, and we are sitting in the doctors panel only. So they will come forward to take care of us, our employees, our organizations. Thank you.
So for me, I would see as this, right? Employee awareness on preventive healthcare, manager awareness on preventive healthcare, and as well as manager sensitization, leadership advocacy, and not seeing preventive care as a cost, but as a growth enabler or a business enabler. And do not fall into the reactive approach trap. Then, instead we should be proactive in our approach. So that's what I would sum it up as.
So for me, the takeaway would be, preventive healthcare and preventing employees from falling sick is a top-down approach, not a bottom-up approach. So your boardroom should be first sensitized. They should understand. And then your line managers, of course, HRs can be enablers, but they can't do everything. It is to get it done through your line managers and in sensitizing employees that it's not a cost, it's something which is going to enable your bottom line, and your path is going to improve, not your cost is going to be a burden to you. Thank you.
Thank you, one and all, and to all the panelists. I think let's continue building places where work, health, and performance grow together, not individually, but grow together. That's, I think, very important. And thank you once again for joining us and being part of an exciting discussion.
Thank you so much to our panelists and Dr. Neil for moderating it. While they remain, I request Dr. Pawan and Shalabh sir, please come forward to hand over the mementos. Ms. Malini. Round of applause, please. Mr. Praveen Chanda. Mr. Pramod Kumar. Dr. Sheila? Stanley. Thank you for the opportunity. Our mentor for Dr. Nikhil as well, please. Thank you, Dr. Nikhil, for moderating the session. The conclusion of our interesting panel discussions now brings us to the most important moment of the evening. CARE Hospitals is proud to introduce a dedicated corporate healthcare initiative built specifically to support organizations like yours. An initiative that moves from episodic care to sustained partnership, an initiative designed to transform healthcare from a cost center to a strategic advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, to launch this initiative, I request Dr. Pawan Kumar, Mr. Shalabh Dang, Dr. Nikhil Mathur, Dr. Amit Singh, and Mr. Neresh Gupta to please come forward for the official unveiling of Health Guardians CARE's corporate healthcare program. For a minute. I request all our panelists for both the sessions to please also join us for the unveiling. Please do the honors. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for doing the honors. Now let's watch a short video on CARE Health Guardians, our corporate healthcare program. Thank you. To walk us through the operational framework and partnership model in greater detail, I invite Mr. Siddharth Datta, Head Credit Business Care Hospitals, to present the next segment.
Thank you, Leena. Good evening, everyone. I am proud to present CARE Hospital's exclusive wellness program for corporates, the Health Guardian. As you all just witnessed in this short video, Health Guardian is a comprehensive healthcare and wellness proposition structured with corporates in mind. Benefits of Health Guardians are categorized into 4 large buckets: workplace wellness, preventive care, priority access for employees, and express assistance at the hospital. Talking about workplace wellness, where we want to get wellness at your corporate, at your premises on site. We have expert-led healthcare awareness sessions to provide education to employees about preventive health. Annual wellness calendars are shared with all of you so that you as HR or wellness leaders can pick and choose what needs to be as an intervention for your employees. These are aligned with the WHO World Health Days. So additionally, we keep sharing health tips and EDMs which help for the casual and more practical advice to the employees about their well-being. Preventive care is something which CARE Hospitals has always focused on, and we continue to do so. Under the preventive care bucket, as we talked about in length in the panel number 2 about health checkups. Health checkups is something which we are customizing for corporates like you, whether it is pre-employment health checkups or health checkups which are annual and need to be customized as per the requirement. We are also launching health scorecard, which Mr. Shalabdank initially spoke about briefly. This scorecard is actually something which is based on a simple questionnaire, and the employees will follow the questions. And as HR and people leaders, you would get to know that what kind of intervention is required for which departments. Whether a certain department requires an intervention related to say cardiology, where they feel that it is stress levels are higher, or it could be regarding to the orthopedic intervention, where there are people because of longer sitting hours, that kind of intervention may be required. We also have specialized OPDs at your premises so that it's easier and convenient for your employees to get those initial diagnoses. In case the access is required at the hospital by the corporate, we have tried to make it much simpler for you. We are launching the dedicated corporate helpline, which is exclusively for corporates. We also have key account managers who will take care of you as a corporate across the country. Of course, we have the escalation metrics, which we will be sharing for all our hospitals across the country. And of course, there is WhatsApp, which is today required to get your OPD appointments booked or else look at your reports, which are at the hospital. When the employee lands into the hospital, we have tried to make life for him much simpler. We are launching the corporate health desk at all of our hospitals, wherein the end-to-end journey of the patient will be taken care of from the time he walks into the hospital till the time he's discharged, from express admissions to express discharge. In case there is a medical emergency, we will take care of that free of cost for you so that the employee reaches the ER on time. I'm happy to launch the dedicated corporate helpline, which is now live and exclusively available for you and your employees. In the end, I just want to reiterate that this initiative of CARE Hospitals reflects our commitment to support employee well-being through structured, preventive, and accessible healthcare, and thus becoming the health guardian for your organization and your employees. Thank you very much, and have a great evening ahead.
Before you take over, thank you, Siddharth. I think all of you would have got a sheet which talks about the health guardians. But then what's very important is what next tomorrow morning. So I would like to call up on stage Tren and Dr. Shavya. Please come over. Now, these are the two people I'm sure all of you would definitely know one of them because they are the people who are meeting you day in, day out. Either it's Tren or it is Dr. Shavya who's coming to your office and meeting you. Now, they are the ones who are going to come and meet you over the next 2 weeks and talk about the health guardians and look at for enrollment. So thank you so much. I wanted them to be introduced and we look forward. We are coming and meeting you over the next 2 weeks to enroll you for the health guardians. Thank you so much.
Before we conclude, I request Dr. Pawan Kumar, our Chief Executive Officer at CARE Hospitals, to please address the gathering.
The problem with making concluding remarks is you come between people who are hungry and food and drinks. So that burden is lying on me. So I'll be brief. I just want to thank you all for coming over, taking time out. I know Friday evenings are family time. You have all taken that time out and decided to spend that time with us today. So thank you so much. Special thanks to all the panelists. We heard some very interesting insights on health, wellness, empathy, yoga, oxygen mask. First wear your own oxygen mask, then look about others. So very interesting, very simply put, but very insightful. So thank you so much for all that. So I think I don't have to introduce CARE hospitals, at least in Hyderabad. That's the beauty of CARE. They are a legacy of 30 plus years. Everybody knows CARE. And now you know all of us here as a team who has put this whole thing together. When I ask people, how do you decide where to go, which hospital to go? Most of them would say they would go to a hospital where they know somebody. That's one. Second, they would always decide basis they know somebody who has gotten operated or treated by a particular doctor to go to that particular doctor. So these are the two important decision movers. I keep telling my marketing guys, no matter what holding you put, patient will always go to a surgeon and hospital will always be an enabler. So with that, I think one thing that happened here is, you know, a lot of people in care hospitals today. So if you or your people ever need a place to go, God forbid, they should never need a place to go. If at all they need, we are there. Second thing that I wanted to bring to you, I think Sudeep mentioned from my home. He spoke about empathy and leadership very clearly. So one thing that drives us, and that's also the brand image of CARE, is our ethics. Ethics with clinical excellence. So we are a hospital that surprisingly see more than 50,000 patients in our OPDs in Hyderabad every month. Right? This is not a mean number because none of the hospitals see this number in Hyderabad by the way. I checked all the numbers. And we get a lot of second opinions. People just come to us to ask if so and so doctor has told the surgery, do you get this surgery or not? Our doctors give a second opinion, they go back. If the doctor says no, the surgery is required, they go back and get the surgery. So I think one thing that is established in Hyderabad for us is to trust us. So we come from that position of trust. And for that, I think one thing that I tell all my team members and clinicians alike, somebody asked me a few days back, we talk a lot about ethics. What is the meaning of ethics in terms of clinical arrogance? What is the meaning of ethics in clinical practice? And as a doctor, I could tell you only one thing, something that my teacher taught me when I was doing MBBS. Don't do something for a patient that you will not do for a family. It's a very simple test. It's called family test. And I have followed it ever since. It's been, I don't know, more than 20 years now. But I have stuck to it. And I think most of the doctors that you will see at CARE, you will find this statement. That is why we see so many patients and we give so many second opinions and we are interested in. What future holds for CARE? I think we are investing. So we are a legacy brand, right? We do a lot of good work in terms of great outcomes, great surgery, great procedures. Going forward, we are investing a lot in technology. We are looking at transplants, robotics, oncology, and that we are putting across the network, across the group. So I think clinical excellence with strong clinical governance comes first to us. Second is about technology. And third is about having the best of the clinical talent. We don't believe in having fancy doctors. We believe in talent, which is good, has been trained at best of the institutes, can do their work really well and ethically. And that's our way of, so every particular organization and group that I'm talking to so many talent managers out here, you have a philosophy of who your talent is. We have come to a certain our philosophy of who our talent is. And it is the people who come from places that believes in creating doctors who are meticulously and well trained. Almost, I think all our doctors are hired from government institutions. So they have seen volumes, they have been trained for years on number of cases which are unparalleled in private sectors. That's a basic hygiene training. Most of our doctors are from national institutes. So their ethos are at the right place. For them, treatment first, patient first, and then they look at other aspects of things. And that is what has helped us in building this organization. The third and most important thing is, do you feel safe going to a hospital? And one thing that our clinical teams have been working is how do we create a safe hospital? I personally would be very scared to go to a hospital. It's a harrowing experience. You don't know what you go with and what you come back with. So one thing that we all ascertain to and make sure that how do we create a safe hospital? And what does a safe hospital mean? A safe hospital means a patient comes with a problem, goes back with a solution. In most cases, I think the real issues that surfaces comes back with one problem, gets more problems in the hospital, had come for 2 days, land up for 5 days. So what is the length of stay of a patient is something that we monitor very rigorously. What are the infection control practices? I think many of our hospitals have been awarded for best infection control practices in the country. Problem is, common man will not understand. Right? And that's where the role of education comes up. I think Dr. Nikhil alluded to. There are many people who do not understand what is a safe hospital and how do we educate them. So I was speaking to a doctor a few days back, a surgeon, a GI surgeon, renowned GI surgeon in the city. And I asked him, how has ChatGPT affected your life? And AI. And he had a surprise answer to it. He said, यार पहले पेट दर्द से ना सब मर जाते थे क्योंकि गूगल लिखता था death is possible. Now people don't die of pain abdomen because they read it in the chat GPT and the questions to me are more logical, which I'm trained to answer. Google answers I was not trained to answer. So his life has become easy because of AI. I think that essentially ascribes to the fact that finding answers for medical issues in a social media place or in Google is not an ideal thing. I think ChatGPT is definitely helping. Who else can help is probably us. We can come up with educational programs for employees about what does health mean, what are the health issues they face, how can we ascribe your health issues to problems and seek solutions. So that's another place where we can partner. I think people did mention prevention, but in India, I think we are the worst kind of preventive healthcare programs in this country. Government has been talking about prevention, I don't know, for decades. Since 70s, Government of India launched preventive healthcare program. It was Government of India initiative through primary healthcare centers. We were not in med school, we were in MBBS. But even today, the uptake of preventive healthcare is minimal because we think it is optional. And if I talk to my doctor colleagues or my friends here, I think very few of them, even amongst us, opt for a preventive healthcare. It's less to do with time, it's more to do with ignorance. And we are trained to believe that if we are fine today, we are fine. We don't want to know bad news, even if it means an early solution and a healthy life. So health is taken for granted in this country. And that's the cultural belief system with which we are grown. It took me a few years at med school to believe that probably health is not to be taken for granted. It's something which is on a very fine balance. There are so many processes running in your body all the time. Anything could go haywire by 1% can create havoc. And hence preventive healthcare is critical. I don't know how you as healthcare leaders or how we as health partners make the society aware about preventive healthcare could save millions, if not billions, in health expenses for this nation. And I think that is something that we should make it an imperative when we go back to our organizations. That's beyond a hospital chain, that's beyond our organization. I think with this, I would like to say again, wish you have a great evening with us. Hope we could help you with some of the nuggets from the healthcare aspects, from the hospital side. You know all of us now. We are all there for you. Feel safe when you come to one of our hospitals. That's the broader message. Please take your health very, very seriously. It's not to be taken for granted. And wish you all a very happy and healthy life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pawan. As we conclude the formal segment for this evening, we hope today's dialogue has sparked new thinking about how healthcare and HR can collaborate more meaningfully. At CARE Hospitals, we believe that organizations thrive when their people do, and we look forward to building healthier organizations together. Ladies and gentlemen, we now invite you to join us for dinner. This is an opportunity to continue the conversation, exchange perspectives, and explore collaboration possibilities with our